Incredible! This is
The Grove Podcast.
Last Christmas, I gave you my heart, but the very next day, you gave it away. This year, to save me from tears, I'll give it to Super Mendy.
Hello, my name is Tabs and welcome to a Christmassy episode 146 of the Grove Podcast. Now, thank you for listening. It's Christmas Eve and I hope you're all doing well, enjoying the festive season, the holidays, whether you celebrate it or not. And Arsenal fans certainly are celebrating. We're top of the Premier League, we're top of the Champions League, and now through to the semi-finals of the EFL Cup after an exciting penalty shootout win against Crystal Palace last night. And it turns out, contrary to popular opinion, that Arsenal are able to score goals themselves. It just needs to be from 12 yards with all the defenders removed, and then we're guaranteed to score. So there we go. And joining me today to look back at those penalties is Jamie. Jamie, how are you doing? And how annoyed are you that we won last night?
I'm good as gold about it. Do you know, I was just delighted when I hadn't realised that we go straight to penalties until the geezer next to me told me at about 80 minutes through. So that was delightful. As A, I did not want a late night, and B, I didn't want the boys to have a late night.
Yeah, but I mean, no, I'm just joking aside. Like, it's only because I say how annoyed we won last night is just because there's the old debate about how much effort do we put into the EFL Cup? Do we want to go through more games in December and January? Now we've got a sort of two-legged semi against Chelsea. So as I said, it's not that I want us to lose, but I don't want to win at all costs. So and as that game wore on, and as the penalties wore on, I was all in, vested. I want us to win. I don't care. I want us to get through, and all the rest of it. And where do you stand on that whole Carabao Cup debate? It is a trophy, but it's obviously the fourth in the priorities.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's almost like a joint third anyway, isn't it? Or a joint second in a way. You got two joint firsts, Champions League and Premier League for me, are pretty much, and then you've got, the others effectively. But no, whilst you're in it, you got to try and win it. And it's about as simple as that. And I think almost sort of ranking them in order of priority is somewhat, the only thing I think it matters in terms of is probably about how you prioritise the squad, right? So, and looking at yesterday, that was a lovely rotated team. I'm sure we'll come on to it, but it brought me a great deal of satisfaction. And, nobody seemingly got too hurt. I don't think Martinelli looked like he was, really, I think as some people were speculating, 7 months instantly was the speculations that we saw from one of my favourite Arsenal commentators. I'll just put it that way. So yeah, it's that's probably the only difference it makes, right? It's just how you prioritise the squad. And so far, I think what we've done with the League Cup hasn't required a huge amount of effort from top players. But we do now head into the point in time where the 2 or 3 games remaining will do. So for the Chelsea games, I think a lot will just depend on what happens around the other Premier League games at the time, right? If we look like we're cruising, then I don't think anyone's going to have any complaints when a top Arsenal team goes out and goes into battle almost. But if we're struggling or we've got some absences or injury, then you start to resent it almost, don't you?
Question it, yeah. No, indeed. But anyway, look, no one wants us to lose, and I think everyone was really happy that we won, and we just see what happens as you say. I think that the fixtures around Chelsea are quite friendly. So maybe that we rotate in the league, given that we might be playing teams like Wolves or other teams at home. So anyway, let's just see. Anyway, we'll move on to that. We'll worry about that come January. And before we get onto the review, if just a quick favour, if you're enjoying the podcast, please give us a nice little 5-star rating and a subscription on the podcast apps on YouTube. Wherever you watch and listen, it does help. And just consider it a small Christmas gift from you to us as we gift you this pod that some of you will be listening as you prepare for Christmas Day or whatever it is you're doing over the next couple of days. So anyway, enough of that. Yeah, Arsenal won, Crystal Palace won at the end of full time, and then we go on to win 8-7 on penalties. And what penalties they were, and again we will come to that. But yeah, Jamie, what can you tell me what your highlight and low light of last night's game was?
Highlight for me was the performance of Christian Nørgaard, along with the general rotation and seeing combinations that we've not necessarily seen in place very much since pre-season, really. So yeah, Nørgaard just read the game superbly all the way through. Looked really calm. Had an air of when we used to bring in Jorginho about him early on in Jorginho's time, of just simple things done well, calm and spotting danger. Spotted danger so well on a couple of occasions. So he's kind of the highlight of the highlights, if you like. But the overall highlight, yeah, it's the way that we rotated and seeing some really nice combinations in there. You know, Lewis Skelly with Calafiori. That's what I'm looking for.
Calafiori, and then there was and Martinelli on his side, wasn't it, as well? And
yeah,
was
absolutely.
And Eze as well. Eze was more playing left 8 rather than right 8, wasn't it? No, was
Eze, that was actually, I think that's who I was really looking for. Actually,
Yeah.
it was because I went to go and say Martinelli, and I was like, no, I don't think. I mean, it's not an unknown combination.
No.
Yeah, I think it was the Eze and him
Yeah.
in particular. Actually, I mean, you've got two escape artists with the ball at that point as well, haven't you? It's like two of the most press-resistant players that you could possibly imagine, and then Calafiori as well. It was. I mean, it's kind of insane what you know, the idea that anybody is going to try and get the ball off you in your own half at that point. So yeah, that was nice to see. MLS as well, also, you know, just generally had a good game, and we'll come to more of that. But yeah, definitely that rotation and it working out and it looking really good.
Yeah. Well, no, and Nørgaard, I think he grew into the game. I think it took him 10, 15 minutes to get into the game, and then once he found his role, look, you know, you can see what his limitations are. He's not going to be doing like the Zubermendi passing and creative stuff there, but he came in and did what he's expected to do. He breaks up play, anticipates, you know, bit of a nuisance. You know, is that you know, fourth defender, third defender, depending how many we've got back when others are wandering forward, and it's sort of just a mature performance, and so yeah, I think quite nice. And I think it was just as the game went on, he sort of got better and better, and you know, Arteta said, like, you know, he did very well, but I'm not surprised that when we brought him in, we had those discussions. He understood perfectly what his role was. So yeah, you know, he's not had the most amount of minutes, but I think, you know, he's doing what he's expected to do. And look, in the last game, or one of the games, you know, he played against Bruges at centre half. Then it comes in this game, so he shows his versatility and importance to the squad. So yeah, no, good shout, and I think a lot of people sort of appreciated him. Just on the MLS point, yeah, I thought he was good in parts. So again, he's still got to learn when to do that thing he does to hang on to the ball and try and win a foul, and he's better in Europe at doing that because it's softer. But in the Premier League, I find that he's still getting caught out a bit sometimes, and he sometimes needs to maybe release it a bit earlier. It just makes him feel a bit nervous. I think he got caught out a couple of times in the second half. Sometimes it was just, oh, that was a bit close. Like, I don't think he realised how close the player was behind him before he released it. Maybe he did, no, maybe he didn't. So I think there's still development there. But yeah, I think he was quite bright, particularly the first half. You know, the combinations with Eze, with Eze, Calafiori, and down that left hand side, you know, driving forward. So, but he's just a little bit too on the edge for me, I think, and I don't know if that's.
I enjoy it. I enjoy it.
Well, I don't.
I'm sorry.
I'm a control freak. Okay, I'm a control. I'm a control freak.
He wasn't pitch perfect throughout the game
No.
at all, but I just felt he was back to looking a really positive.
Yeah.
Team, which because I don't think he's grasped opportunities this season. I don't think this has just been a case of he's not got as much football. I don't think he's been very good in the majority of times that he has had opportunities.
Yeah.
You know, he hasn't been terrible, but he hasn't looked himself to me. So
okay. And sorry, you're low light.
And yeah, I mean, and then I guess you'll want a low light, won't you, mate? Oh, hang on a sec.
Are we pausing? Sorry, just sorting out some Wi-Fi issues. Right, yeah, Jamie, and you're low light.
So this is a weird one for me because I'm generally loath to say that, you know, to jump on the bandwagon with this particular point, but I think Ethan Nwaneri getting absolutely 0 minutes was probably my low light. I know it could well just be the goal or whatever. That was that was by the by. I didn't feel massively upset about that. I could go for the chances missed. I am not going to get very upset about that because I don't think we did terribly with them. For me, therefore, I'm kind of left with that one little bit where I'd really hoped to see him start this. And to be honest, it's super disappointing to not have seen him get on the pitch at any given time. Even when Martinelli went down, for him to go out on the left maybe, or for him to swap and move on to the right, let Noni go left at that particular point in time. So yeah, that was a bit of a shame, I felt.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we've got. Yeah, let's touch on that. So, but from a starting 11 perspective, so where would you expect him to play? Because you look at that starting 11, heavily rotated, and there really wasn't a spot for him unless you go for a really attacking midfield and you have Eze and Nwaneri, which I think would be a bit too lightweight against Palace.
I think it would have been yesterday, yeah. I absolutely, no doubt would have been, and it would have been Eze's spot. I don't think Eze necessarily had to play this game.
Okay.
I could see a game where we start Ethan Nwaneri in that position, and you've got Eze on the bench, and you've got the ability to bring out the big guns if you need to, like we did. And it's debatable whether we even needed to do that anyway, because we just spent a lot of time knocking on the door, and I didn't feel quality was actually that lacking necessarily. So yeah, it just felt a bit of a shame for me to not get to be playing a game that I think is very inviting for rotation, and Ethan Nwaneri not get on the pitch for a single minute feels a bit of a shame. And again, I use the word shame because I'm not going to say I don't think it's the wrong thing to do.
No, yeah,
I can completely understand why not. I just think it's a shame.
Yeah, no, I understand because I'm trying to think where do you fit him in, and maybe this does show how much Arteta does want to win this. As you're right, he brings on Odegaard, he brings on Trossard, he brings on Saka, when it's 0-0 and so on. So and to start the game. So I it does maybe show that how much he wants it. Yeah, it's odd. Maybe Arteta's seeing something in training. There's something behind the scenes. I've even heard it positive that maybe we're saving him for a January move. So so we keep him safe from that. And when I say move, like as in one of these loans, a loan out, because we just signed him up for a 5-year deal. We're not going to be.
I think that's inevitable at this stage. I think that loan out is. I mean, it's been talked about. I think for a lot of the season. And if I'm honest, as soon as Eze came in, I wonder if they'd have got the Eze done earlier as well. Maybe they'd have just worried about total numbers in the squad and they'd have needed a couple more back in the attacking areas before they did it. But I wonder if that Eze deal had been more planned and earlier in the summer, would Nwaneri had gone out on loan earlier as well.
Or maybe not even signed his contract and would have been sold. So there was that. So
I think I honestly think they rate him too highly for that.
Yeah, but it's not always our decision. You might go well.
Well, I mean, yeah, to an extent, but I think I think they rate him too highly in the respect that I think they rate him too highly than to cash in on him now.
Yeah,
because I think even 18 months alone, for instance, you would expect him to add to his potential value. So, and I could honestly see, the potential for 6 to 18 months worth of loans. Depending on what the status will be of the other attacking midfielders at the football club, including whether Martin Odegaard's been with us for a long time now. Maybe there's the chance that he wants to move on at some stage. Maybe maybe he waits it out and sees what happens with the two of them. Maybe on the other end he does find himself a permanent deal somewhere. But I just can't see it yet. I can see it being at least 18 months to any kind of revenue.
I would suggest maybe a loan for the rest of the summer. Maybe it's you've got to find the right club for him so he develops. Because a lot of time you get these loans, you go to someone, and they're the clubs that sort of need him. Then suddenly realise, oh no, we're in a relegation battle, or we're this sort of battle. We can't rely on him. So it's really tough to find the club that will actually bring him in and develop him and have him play how we want them to play. That you sort of need a middling club that are not in danger of going down, but not really challenging for anything, but sort of thereabouts.
I think you need a European club.
Yeah, well, Germany's often talked about.
Well, this has been talked about a fair bit before, where one of the problems with Premier League clubs is actually that they don't lack the financial power to be able to go and buy younger, very talented players that they want to develop themselves. So even for those mid-table kind of safe teams as well, one of the problems is they don't particularly want to develop somebody else's player unless they've got an option in there for them. So it's if you want to make sure that you're not picking you either go in Championship, which he's too good for and he's not going to benefit from. You go Premier League, as you're saying, you've got the possibility you get your kind of relegation threatened team, and they just end up having nobody playing, attacking midfield. They've got, you end up in that Serge Gnabry situation where how can you get in the team without being a 6'3" bloke, because that's the way that West Brom stayed up in the league that season and seven others. Or you go kind of mid-table Premier League and you've got more competition, greater chance of not getting in the team. And more chance as well. They've got somebody else they want to develop themselves, and they're just buffering out their squad, which doesn't help massively. So yeah, I do think probably what you want to do is go, Germany, Spain. Nobody ever seems to go to, do they? I think it's
not on loan.
It probably takes greater adaptation than a loan spell would provide for. They only tend to go over there when they're Spanish or Brazilian. Kind of.
So maybe Germany, Netherlands, somewhere like that. So could be good. But look, I mean, he's still 18, still young. And again, if it wasn't for last season, we wouldn't be having these discussions so much, and maybe those loans would have happened sooner. I think we send him out. It's a tough one because we're all very nervous of our injury situation, and what's going to happen as soon as he's out on loan, and maybe we make sure we have a recall option, that someone gets injured and we need him back. So but I think for his development, considering the minutes he's getting, then I think a loan would make sense, but just has to make sense from a development point of view. And then look, we see at the summer, there's going to be a bit of a shake up in the summer. He said like the likes of Trossard and what happens there. So we'll see. But I think a lot of people agree it was a bit of a miss, noticeable. And let's see, but we can understand why. Okay, so for me, in terms of my highlight, I think a couple of things. I'll bring up Nelly's performance in the first half. He created 5 chances. He had Canvot on toast. I think he's having nightmares, and he's in the physio's room, sort of with his neck hurting because he was just twisting his neck left, right. I couldn't keep track of Martinelli, and he was just a menace all evening, and just unfortunate that his efforts didn't lead to anything. It was really nice to see that. So maybe he's a cup guy. Champions League, EFL, maybe FA Cup. That's his bag. And
the one time he did the right back towards the end of the half, wasn't it?
And when he fell over there, when the right back fell over, Canvot. He's only 19 from France, and that's everyone loves it. Everyone goes, "Way!"
Absolutely sublime. It was just great to see. And then after bring on Nathan Klein for the second half was great.
Yeah, we all knew if there was ever going to be a halftime substitution, I think we all could have predicted he's not coming out for that second half. I guess another highlight was our penalties were very, very good, and we will get onto that a bit later. But they were all high quality. I'm side on, so it's hard to tell exactly where they were placed, but they all just seemed pretty good. And I guess it's
end. I was literally in line with the keeper.
Oh, right, brilliant.
They looked absolutely stonks in fairness, that was great.
Yeah, and I guess it's good practice for hopefully bigger things later on in the season. So it felt like a low stress penalty shootout. Of course, we want to win and all the rest of it, but the stakes weren't the highest of highest stakes. So in a way, you can sort of enjoy it slightly more than others. But again, good practice. I think if you have to have a penalty shootout, then it's a good opportunity.
It's not, as you say, it's great practice because every single player in our team has the technique to pull off every single one of those penalties, with the notable exception of probably Victor Gyökeres. However, it's that bit of having the composure to go, I'm going to step up, I'm going to do this, I know where I'm going to go, I'm going to execute it. And we managed to get practice for a full 8 players in that last night, so that's lovely, isn't it?
Yeah, no, indeed. We just need more goalkeeping practice because I'm not sure this trend of diving the wrong way is compatible with winning too many penalty shootouts. But
So I'll quickly contest that. I thought Kepa was going very very early, and if you look, at the space he's covering in the goal,
mm,
his coverage is fantastic, which is like a keeper doesn't know which way it's going to go. They get something out of
no,
the something out of the biggest thing is studying whoever the penalty taker from the other team is, all that kind of
mm.
stuff. But I would be surprised if that was massively overrated for this particular game. Or if they have footage of Palace's, sixth, seventh, and eighth.
No, well, you don't. Now,
So all you can do to me is go early, go confidently, and get that space covered. And he was covering a huge amount of space, and I actually kind of
okay. Well, that's the thing. I'm side on, so I can't.
almost touching the post on a
Mm,
regular basis with his outstretch.
yeah.
But yeah, it was going the wrong way almost every single time,
well,
which is a bit crap. But
is a bit annoying. I haven't had a chance to look back. Unfortunately, did he dive the same way for every penalty? I've seen that positive somewhere, but it doesn't sound right. I guess it's a good tactic just as long as you score yours, because eventually someone's going to go that direction, and you might get it. But
he might have done it. It used to be my
yeah.
tactic in Ultimate Team if I ever got in a penalty shootout on FIFA. So that was always a solid one. Go the same way over and over, and eventually they will.
The-
The
some,
doubt will creep in.
Someone's got a buckle. But yeah, I mean, look, in terms of penalties, that was our 27th penalty shootout. And in the last 17 penalty shootouts, we've got a 76% win rate, which is won 13, lost 4. And Arsenal have scored 47 of their last 51 attempts in penalty shootouts. So again, that's a 92% conversion rate. So, the guy behind me, we're shit at penalty shootouts. Well, no, we're not. Objectively, we're not. We're pretty damn good at penalty shootouts. So that's a yeah. So yeah, no, it's always again, it's always nice to win on a penalty shootout. There's something about it. It's invigorating. There's something about it. It lifts you up. It's like a last minute winner and stuff like that. Something about penalty shootout wins that are cool. So I would say that's up there with the highlights. In terms of my low light, was the reason we ended up to a penalty shootout, and it's another late goal conceded. Yeah. This is like the fourth one we've had. I mean, and yeah, I think Sunderland 94th minute, and this is also us being varianced or footballed or whatever. Sunderland 94th minute with their first shot and target in the second half. Villa 95th minute. Okay, that's one that can go either way. And they deserved, in inverted commas, to a certain extent. It's not like it. Wolves, they got one in the 90th minute with their first shot on target in the whole game. Crystal Palace last night, their goal in the 95th minute was the first shot on target in the whole game. And it's not a trend I'm particularly a fan of. And it's just pretty much down to the fact that it's a consequence of us not taking our chances and leaving ourselves exposed to things happening. It cost us points against Sunderland and Villa. Luckily, against Wolves and last night it didn't. Yeah, I don't know. Any any idea what you can put it down to? It can't just be Big G missing.
I don't know. I didn't feel like a goal was coming yesterday. Just a nice thing in comparison to the Wolves game.
Yeah.
That's probably the big plus point. The concerning factor for me, I don't know. I mean, look, it's a set piece. It's a bit scrappy. It's pretty much aping hours. It had been a game that we were widely in control of, and we should have put away a little bit earlier. I'm sort of taking those elements of it more so than conceding the late goal. I think there are statistics out there about more goals are conceded in proportionately per minute that is actually played in the Premier League. Like later goals are more common, right?
Okay.
Which is, to be fair, more than likely because teams will push for a goal. It might be that statistics kind of specific to equalisers or something like that.
But it does feel like it. Even if the stats don't, it does feel like there's lots more goals in that last 10 minutes,
Exactly.
plus the 5 minutes of added time.
In anyway for it, but the point being, a team will go after, if you're 1-0 up, a team will go after that goal. They will, and they will find that extra 10%, and you've got to hang on. And sometimes, when it's a decent team like Palace, they'll get the odd opportunity, and they got a real slice of luck on it. Where I'm kind of content is that this doesn't feel the same as the Wolves one, where it was coming because we invited it.
Yeah,
absolutely invited it. We asked for that. This one, and similarly as well, I would say the Villa game, I didn't feel like we massively invited it then. I feel like this one and the Villa one are just shit happens once. The game was tight, and somebody had a reason to push for it, and we came off, the wrong end of that. But we've also had a lot of them go our way. Newcastle this season.
yeah.
Who else have we had this season?
Well, Wolves. Wolves. We won, and then we won. We gave away that goal, then we got our own goal. And
we've had a bunch of them this season, and so I'm not particularly upset by it.
No.
It's a trend that if you watch it continue and you keep seeing it, then I think you get more concerned. But I'm not at this time. I don't feel like we're massive outliers for it.
What it highlights is a not a bigger issue, but an issue that means these late goals should be irrelevant or they won't happen, because it's our ability to take our chances. At the moment, we're just, like yesterday, we had 25 shots, which is the most we've had in any game this season. In our last 3 games, we've had 6.16 xG excluding penalties. And Arsenal actually haven't scored a goal. We haven't scored. There's been 5 goals at the Emirates in the last 2 games, and Arsenal haven't scored any of them. That is just it's just something weird going on, and those last minute things don't matter if you actually put teams away. If you're 2-0 up, but again, we're playing 2-0 football at 1-0, and then you're always going to get variance and so on. And so
it pressure that we're putting on people, though, doesn't it? If there's a load of they correlate. Own goals correlate with the amount of pressure you put a team under. But I think you're absolutely right. I think that's actually a brilliant. I think it's a brilliantly articulated point to why it is a concern. It's not about the late equaliser. It's about the fact that a late equaliser was available.
Yeah, because if it's 2-0, that the late equaliser doesn't happen, or the late goal is less impactful, or you're more composed and all that. And then maybe earlier in the season, like the 1-0 against Fulham were never getting a goal, and that was a comfortable 1-0. We never felt it. Now I think we're leaving ourselves a bit exposed, or I think the opposition feel emboldened. They said, actually Arsenal aren't as sound and secure as we thought they were, so they've got some hope in there. So I think there's sort of multiple factors, but at the end of the day, score more, you'll win more. Anyway, so onto the lineup. So we talked about a fully rotated team, mass rotation as we expected. Another centre back injury in Capier. I think it was a shoulder injury, having bumped into Calafiori against Everton. And so we had a new centre-back partnership, I think, with Saliba and Calafiori, which I didn't mind seeing, because we've not seen Calafiori really at left centre-back. So it'll be interesting to see how he played. And I think he did quite well. I think he did pretty well. He wasn't his usual, shall we say, gallivanting self in multiple positions, and was more of a traditional left centre-back, but he still offered threat in both boxes on occasion, but just not his usual taking up every position in the team. Timber, more minutes in his legs, as I said to you, in the group chat. I'm enjoying this, but I'm not enjoying watching Timber doing sprints, and he did a few and into challenges and stuff. So he was a bit, and I would have maybe liked to risk Salmon or Josh Nichols,
no chance. I'm not. I mean, the idea of Marley Salmon going up against Jean-Philippe Mateta.
No, it wasn't. No, Saliba had Mateta, and that was it. So Salmon would have been right back. Put Salmon at right back. I would have put him at right back.
Right back. Why would you put him at right back? He's not a right back.
Well, he came on for White at right back against Bruges.
Yeah,
well, then
he doesn't. He starts. He's a centre half.
Okay, then bring Josh Nichols in. Then put Josh. He's played a couple of times in the EFL Cup, and I don't know. I did look him up, and he's still on our team list. So in the youth team, so he's played a couple of games.
And he's still playing decently. The problem he's grown, unfortunately, he remains the tiniest man in the world.
I know, but yeah, he can pick your pocket then, can't he? So I don't. Would have really liked Timber to be somewhere else. It was good to see Jesus getting a start. Yeah. Any thoughts on that lineup? Other than the Nwaneri one. Yeah.
I wouldn't. I mean, for this game, I wouldn't have gone as young as a Nichols and a Salmon. In
Okay.
fairness, I think their place would have been in earlier rounds against teams that are non-Premier League opposition if they were available.
Okay.
So yeah, that's sort of where. I mean, maybe you see one or two of them at Portsmouth. That'd be nice down at Fratton.
Maybe. Yeah.
Even then, I don't think Marley Salmon's a 90-minute player yet. I think he's a substitute. But yeah, lineup was cool to see. I really liked the idea of seeing Calafiori and Saliba. I haven't seen them as a partnership since the summer. They played in pre-season a couple of times that way, and I really liked the look of them at that time. So it was good to see, and it was really good to see. As say, can I just ask? I keep looking at this team at the moment. So, dear listener / viewer, Tabs prepares meticulously for these things, as we covered before. And one of the things is he pulls off the lineups with like little player ratings that's come off some.
Oh, that's FotMob. So I just copied and pasted from FotMob. Yeah.
What idiots are on FotMob? Why the hell? So can I just quickly cover a couple of them?
Yeah. Go for it. Yeah, go for it.
Saliba 6.7, whilst you've then got like as a frame of reference, that's up against. In fact, MLS is our highest rated player at 7.5. Now, I praised him earlier on for saying this is one of the better games he's played this season. Where on earth has that come from? That he's apparently 0.8 better than Saliba and better than Calafiori, better than Nørgaard, better than Martinelli. But I mean that's mental to me. But Saliba 6.7 really offends me. I thought he was absolutely superb yesterday.
I'd suggest that's because he gave away the foul for the equaliser.
Oh, just twats, aren't they? Like you don't judge a performance by the impact of those individual moments. I don't. Anyway, Marino 6.4 as well. I mean,
I thought he had a great game.
Which I think is ridiculous. Some of the stuff he was doing, his distribution, his passing, his little inside looks and stuff. They didn't always come off, but he was being asked to play very offensively, and he had a lovely game. Anyway, sorry, that's my rant over.
No. Whilst you're ranting,
I was really upset by looking at these, and then Jefferson Lerma's got 7.9.
I know. I guess these are fan based. I'm trying to find how they where do player ratings on FotMob app come from.
The only accurate one is Benitez getting a 9.2 in goal, and I've got to be honest, I was pissed off when I saw that I didn't realise they had Walter Benitez on their bench at Palace. That's ridiculous. Like he's a cracking goalkeeper. He's at Nice for years, and he did have an absolute.
Apparently they come from Stats. I don't even think they're fan generated. So maybe it's one of these things that is very rudimentary. So I wouldn't read too much into it. So if you do 100 passes and you complete them all, but they're all back to the goalkeeper, you might get a high rating. So
which is probably why Marino comes up short of where I think he should be, because he was trying riskier things, as I say. So
exactly, and maybe Lerma, I don't know, but yeah, I wouldn't read into that too much. It's just because my usual source of the lineup wasn't available, so I just quickly grabbed it from here. But
someone tell Stats they're an idiot anyway. Lies and statistics, right?
Yeah,
so anyway, so lineup wise, so really happy to see those combinations. Delighted to see Nørgaard actually get a game, because I was worried about Zubi's legs. Really delighted to see Gabby Jesus start the match as well. That was, I've been sat here saying I want to see him play some games, and I think he earned back the start, to be honest. Great to see the real chaotic side of Gabriel Jesus. I'm going to pluck a ball out the sky that I should never be able to pluck out, and then beat a man, and then not necessarily do a great deal with it afterwards. But there was it felt like a team that could go there and compete with Palace. I did also look at it though and go, shit, Palace have got, aside from that cracking right back that's injured at the moment, the South American lad they've got, that is a hell of a team.
Yeah, they went strong. They went strong. They changed their goalkeeper, so it was well.
But
In fact, I wish they hadn't changed their goalkeeper because their goalkeeper had a
he was
blind.
superb. Well, but he was
Yeah,
one of the best goalkeepers in France for a bunch of years. He's a really good
but
goalkeeper, and he was on our radar at one point. Like,
but he was also the goalkeeper that shipped 7 when we beat PSV 7-1 last year in Europe.
yeah,
So
that is
yeah, so I wish we had that version of him unless other than yesterday where he was just when you have these goalkeepers that suddenly turn up at the Emirates or it was Highbury and then they just have a blinder sort of thing. So yeah,
it was such a strong team from them. I did think,
yeah.
it wasn't so much about the quality of the players we put out. The quality of the players we put out are good enough to beat that Palace team.
Mm.
Most of those players get in that Palace team, but it was more about those combinations and the fact they were so, some of them were ones that we hadn't really seen in several weeks. Would they all gel together? Would they be in a place where they'd be able to compete with a Palace team that know each other inside and out and play together week in, week out? So yeah, quietly delighted with how that panned out, and but I liked the lineup from the very start.
Yeah, yeah. No, again, I think it was what we expected, and I think, and look, the way it panned out, I think we played actually quite well considering. But we'll get on that. I mean, and well, yeah, actually, we'll get onto it now. So you're right. Even though it was a rotated team, it seemed to blend well. I think we had. In that with the tactics, I don't know. It just something seemed to be right, and maybe as a bit of a balance of Palace still being a bit leggy from all the games, and it took them time to get into it, but we didn't allow them. We were totally dominant. I mean, overall, we had 69% possession to their 31. We had 2.73 xG to their 0.91, and that 0.91 is Guehi from point blank range type stuff. We had 25 shots to their 8, 7 on target to their 1. We had 4 big chances. We were totally dominating, and even if you look at the field tilt, it's all red bar a couple of opportunities. I think the one thing with the way we were playing that could have been exposed was Timber and MLS. There were spaces behind our fullbacks, and Madueke wasn't particularly brilliant in covering Timber did the Calafiori role yesterday, where in terms of he was ending up in multiple positions, especially up front and in our box, and sometimes being a front two with Jesus, which was incredible. Which again, rest your legs, man. But yeah, look, and it was particular. It was all that first half, and it was. I think it was a very enjoyable game. I said. We did, yeah. I think we did really well given the team we had out there. We outplayed them. We were moving the ball fast. When we were moving the ball fast and threatening down their flanks, the nice passes, interplay. Marino was doing nice touches around the corner. His round the corner passes that he does, his flicks. Eze was causing trouble. We talked about Nelly, Madueke. Jesus was sort of doing his Jesus thing. So I really enjoyed that first half. And look, had we got the breakthrough earlier, very different game. You get 1, you get 2, and it's a very different game because Palace then, look, given how many games they've played, given the priorities, they may just not think, well, 2-0 down, we're out of this. We're not going to try so hard to get back into it. But whilst it remained 0-0, and actually in the second half, sort of the roles reversed in terms of we started to lose a bit of steam. The likes of those players that hadn't been playing regularly starting to lose a bit of steam. Palace found their legs, and even though not a lot happened in the second half, it was just sort of became again they felt a bit more emboldened. We're still in it, so let's give this a go. Whereas if we take our chances, 1 or 2 chances, that game's over and early, and then we can make more changes. You can maybe bring on Salmon, you're winning 2-0. You can maybe bring on Nwaneri, but it just at the moment it's not panning out that way. So, but I sort of, as I said, I found it a nice, enjoyable game. Some really good performances. As I said, we talked about Nelly. Noni was pretty good on the other side. Saliba was so smooth. I thought Saliba was really, really good in terms of the way he managed Mateta, but also he was very prominent in driving the ball forward, bringing the ball out, and he had apart from his error the way the goal panned out was he made 2 mistakes in the build up to the equaliser. Is one on the left hand side where he tried to clear a ball with his right foot and it should have gone out. He should have done it with his left foot, and so therefore it goes out for a throw. ends up on the other side, and then he dives in to give away a free kick, which again could have cleared it. But other than that, I think he was, and his penalty was great. He was superb. So yeah, I just found it as a penalty shootouts. I said are great. Players loved it, fans loved it, and yeah, overall, I think very very enjoyable, and obviously the result helped. What were your overall thoughts on the game and the actual performance as a whole?
I think pretty similar. You know, we absolutely dominated the match, and we really impressed me. If I'm honest, I just wasn't expecting. I thought we were going to go toe to toe with them, and it was going to be a bit back and forth, and then we might at some point need to bring on the big guns to take control of the game a little bit. Which would not have been a bad thing in this game where you've got a heavily rotated team against that Palace team at all. I'd have been quite happy with that. Instead, we were completely on the front foot. They had very little opportunity. We looked such the better team. This could quite easily have been, that first half could very easily have just been our full first team against Palace. Like that did not look like a rotated team. That looked like a team that we're absolutely going at. In terms of individual performances, I'd like to see more out of Madueke. Is probably the main one. Where I felt like he had his moments, but he was moments. He wasn't really doing enough for me. And some of that might be that he's going to need to, if he plays on that right, he's going to need to develop a relationship with Uri Timber. And I think this can be something that can be, something to take a bit of time as well. Is what do you do when you play with Uri Timber or Ricardo Calafiori, and they're absolutely everywhere, and they're suddenly in your space, and now they're in that space, and what have you, and you don't necessarily get the ball that early as well. Quite often, the way that we want to play with our wingers, and the way that that Saka likes to get the ball a lot of the time, and the way that Trossard likes to get the ball a lot of the time, is quite often to receive it a bit later rather than necessarily early. Whereas I think Madueke is a player that thrives a little bit more on an early ball, and kind of, he loves going up against a fullback trying to almost win a ball. That's a 50-50 if you put an early through to him, and he got in a few tussles yesterday in that way, and he seems to really thrive in doing so. So, maybe that's
he was dangerous in terms of his stats. He had like an XG of 0.88. He had an XG plus XA of 1.14. So he was a threat. He may not have stood out on the eye compared to Martinelli, who just, when you have a player on toast, it always looks brilliant. But I think he also had 2 shots, created 2 chances. So I think he was maybe the more, threatening of our wingers. Because if you look at Martinelli, his XG was like 0.02. His expected assist was 0.51. So even though this is interesting, even though the eye is drawn to Martinelli and what he did, there was more. Okay, there was 0 output at the end of the day, but there was more threat actually coming from Madueke.
But you say that, I think it speaks more to the fact that Martinelli generally was trying to hit the byline and get something across. Where Madueke is almost by definition a player who will try and. I think most of his XG would have come from that attempt that he had off the back of the corner, where it comes to him via the header, and he takes well, I think it actually gets slung back over, doesn't it, by Lewis Skelly, and then he takes a touch and then has a pop. So but I just feel like it's not as consistent. It's not as often.
Yeah,
he has moments rather than kind of the Martinelli on the other hand, as you say, was fairly dominant. And maybe some of that's about distribution as well. If you've got Eze drifting over to the left, more, it's almost the inverse of what would occur when Nørgaard is on the right. That the ball is over there a little bit more, and as such, the player on that side benefits and looks like he's driving the game forward a bit more. But that's the one performance, probably the only one, where I just wanted to see a little more so than necessarily being unhappy with it. I thought, Eze was pretty classy in the stuff that he did. He was asked to play that more kind of playmaker role, I think, more so than necessarily trying to score the goals. And he was very good in it. Merino was great. The midfield in general just functioned absolutely brilliantly.
It's good. It was a good mixture, good combination, and in a way, Merino.
The speed of ball between them was great, and also both Merino and Eze consistently looking for the ball in between the centre halves. They've got the
Yes.
3-man back line. They've got the 2 wing backs there. It's a bloody good back line. That's, Gay and Lacroix are both superb. Richards has really grown as a right-sided centre half for him. And, I felt what I really enjoyed was both Merino and Eze both seemed to be looking for that ball between the centre halves to Madueke and Martinelli and Jesus that were looking to get on the end of those, and that was really, really lovely to see as well. Quite a lot.
Yeah. No, I think there was some good performance, and I really like Merino. Merino sort of seemed to just knit everything together in a way, and was a good complement to Nørgaard and to Eze. And he had played a clever game, because also he was committing fouls quite high up the pitch, just to allow our players to get back. Those just sort of, but they weren't like obvious Man City type fouls. Where you stop the play. There was a sort of very subtle, okay, let's get everyone behind the ball, stop the counter attack, stop the break, and I thought we're good. And I think we mentioned Jesus. Jesus again came in, had 5 shots, so it's what you want from a centre forward to keep chance after chance. So look, eventually the dam is going to break and someone's going to get a hiding, I think. When that's going to be, let's hope it's in the next couple of games, but we'll see. So the only other point I want to talk about was our goal. I have no idea what happened. I haven't seen the replay. I have no idea how it went in. but it wasn't a great night for Lacroix. Not only did he score the own goal, he missed the deciding penalty. But yeah, apparently he I don't know if you got much of a view, because I didn't see what happened and I haven't seen the replay.
I was standing at the end from me, because I was it wasn't a terrible view, because I was in the club level with the in the clock, so
Okay.
Decent view. But with a melee that great in the box, unfortunately, I can't tell you much more. And similarly as well, I haven't watched the replay.
Oh, okay. No, it's fine. It just feels like
a replay of all 8 penalties.
Oh, okay. Well, I want to see those, definitely. I have seen a replay of those, but just a stylistic version as opposed to a proper version. But I think, well, we're from a corner, from what I could tell, Calafiori jumps for it, ball's bouncing around. I think Lacroix sticks a leg out, and it just one of those ones everyone's trying to get to it, and it's all going in slow motion, and no one can get that. Everyone misses it, and it somehow ends up in the back of the net. And you could sort of see it was an own goal, because no one was properly celebrating. No, when there's an own goal, who do you run?
The goal that we scored, I thought, their goal. Oh
no, our goal, our
goal. No bother at all. Yeah, absolutely. That was
No, the Gray one was just a free kick in. They win the second. They win the first duel, and it bounces to Gray, and he just toe pokes it between Kepa's legs in the 6-yard box. No, the Lacroix goal.
Gay's goal I didn't see well at all. But no, I mean, to be honest, I mean, the main thing that speaks to is the quality of ball in was pretty great throughout the game, which was nice to see, because there was no Deck and Saka at times for that. But I mean, it got even better when Deck took a couple of absolutely stonking corners, by the way. And they were, again, all down my end. So you're looking at just where the ball was getting to, and you're just thinking every single time, how's that not a goal? But, the quality of delivery was great. I think that's where the goal comes from ultimately. And we'd been waiting for it, and we'd had a bit of bad luck a couple of times with it. So it felt right. And I think, Saliba, I thought initially had actually scored it. I couldn't.
Yeah.
I thought that one of them had knocked it onto Saliba, and it got back off him. But again, haven't watched the full replay, but I was quite content in saying it was either Saliba or an own goal at the time. And when it came up as an own goal, none of us were particularly surprised.
No, indeed. But anyway, it was 1-0. That should have been it, but we know what happened next. And there we go. And then on to penalties. Yeah, were you confident? Nervous at all? Any particular penalty taker that made you nervous stepping up?
Do you know, I thought about it before we've sent anyone out, and I just thought we've got what, Saka, Rice.
So it went Odegaard, then Rice, then Saka, Trossard, and Merino.
Immediately, and you're just like, well, that's crazy good. Trossard, I was pretty confident in. We've seen him take a penalty or two before. I'm pretty sure he used to be on penalties for Brighton at one point.
Okay.
And it just to be honest, I looked at it and just thought, no, I think we're right here. I'm pretty sure we've seen Saliba against Sporting put one in 2
Yeah.
seconds before as well, haven't we?
Yeah, I think so.
Absolute scorcher of a penalty. So me and the lad next to me we're chatting away about it. Just went, shit. I think we've got like 7 or 8 decent takers here at the bare minimum. Like, I think we're fine.
Yeah.
What I hadn't accounted for was that actually, as they started going up, I did start thinking, oh, they have got quite a few lads here as well, haven't they? You know, Wharton and Will Hughes used to be on pens, and Mateta, and there's enough in there as well that looked like they were probably going to be handy, and they proved to be. Great pens from both sides, right? I mean, that's the other thing. You can criticise Kepa, but the pens from their side as well were very good.
Well, actually, the only poorish one was the Lacroix one. He didn't hit it as hard as everyone else. He didn't place it as well, and it's one of those ones that you guess the right way. It's at a good height to save, and you expect him to save once he's made it that far. So it actually was the poorest of all the penalties. I mean,
you have your eye lineup, don't you? And you sort of go like, once this fella's the one that steps up, and I had it as Jefferson Lerma. I thought,
okay.
I was like, all the little technical midfielders are all going to bang it in. Your striker's going to bang it in. Your winger's probably going to be all right. I'm thinking like Tyreek Mitchell's probably never seen a penalty in his life.
Yeah.
And I think Jefferson Lerma, he's got that anchorman midfielder that goes about kicking people about, that ends up missing a penalty written all over him. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And he was absolutely superb. Right exactly. In the corner of gosh,
yeah. Well, the only ones that made me a little bit more nervous were Trossard, and Timber.
Yeah.
But from side on, Timber's just looked incredible, like into the roof of the net. That looked a really good penalty. But the one that stood out for me is Saka, and we could see it. I am so sure that he hit the square of netting literally behind the post. It was so.
Yeah.
See, into the corner means it has to go at an angle that actually the goalkeeper can save. If you can hit literally the first square of netting inside the post, it doesn't matter. You have to be diving the previous penalty to go and get that one, because that you're just not you're not stopping that. It's just like so accurate. It is. When I saw it again, no, that is literally just behind the post. The accuracy of that is superb, and that was it. But the one that looked impressive was the Timber one. I thought that was going to be Chris Waddle, over the bar and into space, but it just like slammed into the roof of the net. And you think you're right. We have some good quality penalty takers. No issues about Calafiori going up there. Marino cool as a cucumber. So yeah. Anyway, we got through. We won, and that's all you can do. And maybe that galvanizes us. That brings the team together. You can see the players loved winning it. They're all charging in. It meant a lot to them. It can bring that togetherness. It just gives you something, and the season will have these sort of situations. So if you can get through them, maybe it will help us in the long run. So there we go. So that's Palace, and so we'll very quickly go through your 3-word reviews before we'll just do a quick preview of Brighton on, I have no idea what day it is, but on the 27th. But anyway, so thank you for everyone who posted on Blue Sky, X, Threads, TikTok, and the Grove WhatsApp group for your 3-word reviews. We'll start off with TikTok from Matthew James. Penalties, no problem. No, indeed. Matthew Hayes, which is actually a friend of my son, who's actually a Southampton supporter, who somehow gets very good executive seats at Arsenal games, and he goes, the darts was better. Al Guna, who people may see on the socials with doing a lot of the songs and chants to tunes, win's a win. It is indeed. Raining Cats and Dogs says 1, no complaints. Gianluca T14, my boy, said unnecessarily long-winded. Yeah, I hear you. Daniel John 19.
Podcast.
Huh? Yes, that's it. Review of the podcast.
That's not one of our App Store reviews, or what?
I think spot on there. Daniel John 1978. Next round, boys. Yep. Arsenal Becks. I am weak. Maybe the penalties got to you. And Robbie was just sort of 3 gritted teeth smiling emojis. So thank you for those on TikToks. Blue Sky. Steph from the North Bank podcast. Underperforming RXG. Yeah, indeed. Mr. C. Laguna. What cool penalties they were. And Die Mike Shaft. We hate goals. Yeah, I like that. Onto threads, we got a fair few, so quickly go through those. Rashik Z, Kepa saved us. Comedy Mike, not ruthless enough, correct. The Retro Gooner, deserved to win. Yeah, I would say so. Paul Latham, Dignity 18, Arsenal's Palace penalty. And then Chapper's Delight, Muppets Christmas Carol. I sort of get what you're getting at. A bit random. Good film, though. Leg Puppy, exciting for once. Yeah, it was. Sim in T31, Real Champion Shining. Yeah, I'm not too sure what that meant, but real champions are shining. Alec Alsapong, glad all over. Yep, wink. Tim Met, Crystal Palace broken. The Nololum, Christmas Arsenal style. Yep. Central ITC. I think this person didn't enjoy it. He goes, for fuck's sake. He didn't like the stress. Paul C. Giltulsa, my nerves. Yeah. Gareth Harding 82. We got through. Wishful expat, another one in the nervous category. Jesus H. Christ. Mark my words 819. Too much drama. Then T Cat 3 Deuce. Please go left. I think that's now. Please go left is followed up with Rudy in Queens. Throw yourself right. So I think they must have seen it from two different perspectives. And then Mimi Chilena saved by Kepa. And then Fadil Zawawi, own goal again. Indeed it was. Voice GPE, bring on Chelsea. Yeah, not looking forward to that. Spook Davy, still in it. Hate Watchers, unsuccessful. Correct, from Paul Har 777. Addy Jacobs, toothless aggression phase. And then Jaskrat 123 on thin ice. Etc, etc. And then Ask Cannon picks of this parish. Chelsea, you're next. And Nørgaard again. Classic football clocks, that will do. And Sunny T, goal scorer needed. Yeah, I agree. Then finally onto the Grove WhatsApp group, we have Matt Stacey going, the quadruple is on, or quadruple is on. It is still on. Sensi, almost panicked there. Aaron Man, keep scrapping wins. And then for Alex, cheating here, unsustainable. That's not 3 words. That's not 3 words. Duncan, first half chances. And then from a certain Jamie Payton, actually very good. And we were indeed, particularly the first half. So thank you again for sending those in. Apologies for botching all your handles and your names. But I had to rush through those quickly, given that we're on 56 minutes and we're going to do a quick review of Brighton. But thank you for those. And if you've got any further 3-word reviews, just provide us in the comments on the various channels. Okay, right. Brighton. Now, apparently, it's a very rare Saturday 3 p.m. kickoff, but it feels like the least Saturday 3 p.m. kickoff because no one has any idea what day of the week it is between Christmas and New Year. So, but it is Saturday 3 p.m. on the 27th. So, what are you looking forward to? Not looking forward to Brighton at home.
I mean, nice strong team out again. I'm really looking forward to seeing what the selection will be at 9. And at centre half, actually, after this, it feels like the Calafiori Saliba is going to be on, right? Which means we're probably going to be CMLS at left back again. And then in turn, I think 9 is the other really super interesting one. Does he bring back Yok against his former club? Not that it was much of a former club of his. I think he played about 2 games for him. Or does he go with Gabby Jesus? Because at the moment, I think you look at that attacking performance and the movement of Gabby Jesus as part of that, and the ability to be able to drop in and move into different positions. And I think you've got to start Gabby Jesus for it. So I'm really looking forward to seeing the lineup. I don't think I'll have am I looking forward to this game or not almost until I do see it, because I just, I might be over egging it, but I think that's just where I'm at the moment. I really want to see Gabby Jesus on the team sheet for it, and see what we can do.
And what you're not looking forward to? Not seeing him on the team sheet.
I'm not looking forward to seeing Victor Gyökeres back on the team sheet. Yeah, I'm not looking forward to seeing someone shoehorned in at centre half, or I think it would really be disappointing to see a game without MLS getting another opportunity at left back and
Gabriel Jesus get another opportunity at 9. And I actually want to focus more on the opportunity for those players. I think is more the way that I would phrase it, actually, particularly in Jesus' case. I think he's got a really good opportunity to get some games under his belt while we still just wait on Kai. And I think he could be impactful.
Well, Kai might even be on the bench. Apparently, he's back in training with the lads and stuff. You've seen pictures where it's still too early. Don't know. Can Jesus do 2 games in a week, considering where he's come from?
I think he's all right. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, look, he's been. So when did he play his first game for the reserves? It was a month ago now.
Yeah.
So I think at this point, yeah, you've got to expect that he's got the fitness to be able to go, and also you don't need him to play 90. You need him to play probably 60.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the way that I would view that. To be honest, I mean,
yeah,
Hearts. I feel like he might go York, but I as I say, if you asked me for something that I would want to look forward to in what is otherwise a bit of a routine game, and I always struggle with these because it's a game, it's what it is. I'm going to say that's my one. If those two get a start, then I'm really looking forward to seeing how those two perform, because it feels like we're getting to a point in the season now where you're looking forward to that really, really heavy schedule from January. Well, from this moment onwards, really.
Well, yeah. We don't. There's no midweek breaks until February, so we're literally playing every 3 days until the 7th of February when we play Sunderland at home. So we need to manage the team. We need to be able to learn how to rotate. And when do you do that? And maybe this is part of the rotation. Jesus played that one. Gyökeres plays this one. I don't know. Then we factor in.
But I you give him another go. You give him another run out. You want to make sure that Jesus is getting the minutes to be, to give him the opportunity to be a really impactful player in the running now. And I honestly would not be surprised if we have medals to give out at the end of the season for the Premier League. I'm already kind of feeling like I'm probably going to be a bit surprised if Gabriel Jesus hasn't made his 10 appearances.
Yeah,
to grab one.
No, he'll be making his appearance if he stays fit. He's getting on. He's getting minutes. I mean, especially if we loan out Nwaneri, then he's another wide man option. So
I just want to see more of him, and that's what I would really look forward to as a hypothetical.
It would be interesting what happens if Nkapie's back fit. I think it was just a game too soon. If he wants to play Calafiori and Saliba again with MLS there, or he prefers to have a Calafiori out there as a main attacking threat and maybe take some of that pressure off Timber again, because I feel if Calafiori isn't out left, then Timber has to do that more of attacking threat type stuff rather than maybe sitting back a bit more. I don't know. So if I'd suggest if Nkapie's fit, he comes back in and Calafiori goes back out left just to take up that attacking threat. Other than that, the back, Odegaard, Zubimendi, Rice, Saka, I would go Gyökeres and Trossard. That's how I see it lining up. And the 2 question marks are Calafiori, Nkapie, Calafiori, MLS, and then Gyökeres or Jesus. Either way, I think we'll have a very strong bench, so we can change it up, and it depends what sort of style of game he wants to have. In terms of what I'm looking forward to, mine are Hurtzler based. I'm not a big fan of his, and so I'm not looking forward to seeing Hurtzler prancing up and down our touchline and being happy at any point. In terms of what I'm looking forward to is obviously the opposite, and look, I love a post Xmas Day football match. I don't know, just a nice. You've had the Christmas, all that shenanigans. It's just nice to get out in the fresh air. Post Christmas Day, post Boxing Day, and just get out and about. And I just hope Father Christmas has bought our players some shooting boots, and we can turn those chances into goals, and we make Hurtzler very, very unhappy. So in terms of Brighton, it's a bit like Everton. They're a very middling team. They're sort of lying 9th in the table, won 6, drew 6, lost 5. +2 goal difference. They've scored 25, let in 23. They're in a bit of a bad run. Draw loss in their last 4. They drew at home to Sunderland in the last game, 0-0. Their away form, played 8, won 2, drawn 2, lost 4. But they've got some notable wins. I mean, they beat City and Newcastle at home 2-1. They also beat Chelsea away 3-1. But they're still a bit middling. They're still relying in parts on a 35-year-old Danny Welbeck on goals, who's their top goal scorer on 7.
I mean, I'd take him at a minute.
Yes and no. I don't know. Maybe it suits him. I don't know enough about it. But and in terms of their team, he might be in. Now this is Fotmob. He says back injury doubtful. Now at his age, I can understand that a back injury. But maybe an injection and he plays. Van Hecker, he's ill, doubtful, but most probably plays. Webster's out. Solly March is out still. He seems to be permanent out. And Carlos Baliba is on international duty, which I think was a big miss from their central midfield.
Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting. I mean, they're a good technical side, quite progressive. They play possession-based football. They can shift from back 4 to back 3. They like to use their width. I don't see them as a team that will park the bus, but I think they will maybe be a bit more conservative than they usually are. I think they'll look to press, counter, take advantage of those spaces down behind our left back, centre backs, and they have been a bit of a bogey team of late. Last season both games finished 1-1. Of the last 12 Premier League games, they've won 5, drawn 3. Oh no, we've won 5, drawn 3. We've lost 4, I believe that is, or some as near as damn it as that. We did beat them in the EFL Cup earlier this season, but that doesn't really count. So look, how do you see this one panning out? What do you think is the threat, and what do you predict?
I mean, I think it is genuinely a really good time to play them. They've got, as you say, a few injuries, and in particular, Baliba in particular is the one that I look at and go, that's nice to hear. They've got danger men. Minte in particular, I really like. I think he's a fabulously exciting sort of player, isn't he?
Yeah.
But I would expect us to do this pretty comfortably, to be honest. When they're not in great form. There's no particular pick up for them, and they're missing a few players until the new year. You're kind of thinking, well, realistically, we should be expecting to put this one away. 2-0, I'm saying. You're saying
2-0. I'm just trying to see who they've got after they play us. So they play us, and then they got West Ham away. So West Ham away is the, if you're going to have to prioritise, I would say West Ham away on the 30th is the bigger one. So let's hope they do a Brentford, and all the rest of it. So you're going 2-0.
I'm going 2-0.
Yeah, I think the dam will burst, but not massively. I want to save some goals for the Villa game, so I'm going to say 3-0. I think, at home, post Christmas, given where we are, given where they are, I think we should be winning this. They may have a Boxing Day hangover, Christmas Day hangover, and we go and hopefully we can. And it would be just nice to be 2-0 up at half time. And then we get the third, game's done, bring on some subs and enjoy it, and then save ourselves for Villa, because that is the big important game ending the year, and we need to throw everything at that. So let's see. There we go. Well, so much for a quick one, Jamie. Sorry about that. But I blame you for doing all the talking. Right. Okay. So look, thank you for joining us today on Christmas Eve. I hope you have a nice rest of Christmas until we speak next.
Indeed. Indeed. Happy Christmas to you. Happy Christmas to anybody that bothers having a listen.
Indeed. So look, you can follow us on Threads, Blue Sky, TikTok, X, Instagram at The Grove AFC. Not sure when the next show will be. There might be one after Brighton if I can find someone with nothing to do. If not, then hopefully it'll be post Villa. And look, as I said before, if you enjoy what you hear from us, please like, subscribe, leave us a comment, rating, and all that on the usual podcast feeds on your YouTube channel. Really appreciated. And as Jamie alluded to there, all it leaves me to say is we at the Grove Podcast would like to wish all those who celebrate a very, very, very Merry Christmas, and that just like Arsenal, you are top of the Xmas Games League this festive season. So thank you for listening, and until the next time, come on you Gunners.